TikTok, it's time to rock. Welcome to the channel, folks. Welcome to the British Electric Blues Show. That's what we used to be called, and now we're called the 5150 Show, and then we have Van Halen shows, and then we do ranking of the tracks and anything in between, Rock Professor.
Anything in between. I know, the good old days when we called the British Electric BEBS, British Electric Blues Show.
Good to see the Rock Professor back with us. He missed us. Well, actually, we missed him.
Yes.
There was a bit of scandal and controversy about the show last week, Brad.
I was just about to say that.
Yes. I come onto the plane.
I think we're going to cop a scolding from the Rock Professor.
I'd like to request isolation. Well, I scold you lot for firing me. Don't think I didn't notice. He's firing me. My house is a bit harsh. Good God. And I had to wait till the very end. I noticed you smuggled in at the very end. Yes. Don't think I didn't watch till the very end, because I watched till the very end. And I'm telling you, I'm not going like we ended the show, but we haven't. Trap you all. Jeez.
Oh, it was a good bit of fun.
Fantastic.
It was a good bit of fun.
Yeah.
But welcome back, Rock Professor. The Rock Professor is going to tell you folks very, very soon what he was doing. If you've been following him on Facebook, you've probably got a bit of an idea. But while we're talking about that, guys and girls, there we are there. If you're interested in following us, Brad Cook Music, at Brad Cook Music on Instagram. You'll find Brad there. The Rock Professor, at Simon Williams 33, John ZD 351, and also our brother Zach Idris is on there as well. You have to give him a request because he's private and he wants to check you out first before he friends you. So if you don't get friended, don't blame us.
You fail the Zedron test. Yes,
that's right.
Zedra's test.
And he's very picky, so let's just put it that way. But I think we should actually do a bit of a shout out to Zachy for what he did last week with us. It was a great show.
Right.
We've had some great views on that show, and verbally some really good responses. Zach, you could potentially become a co-host, a standing co-host on a regular basis if you keep it up.
To send more money.
No, he's outstanding, and it was a bit of fun. Right. Good album for us to talk about, and we're cooking something up in the pipeline, folks, with Zach and somebody else that Zach is close to as well. So if you do want to see Zach, make sure you hit that notification button, and we'll keep you up to date with the surprise that we're working on. We've got a couple of other surprises too that we should probably talk about that we didn't script on the intro. So Brad won't be here next weekend. He'll tell you why. And we won't be doing anything on the show the last weekend in October, but we'll do something midweek. So we'll keep you up to date in our social medias. Yeah.
Yeah, just best thing you do is just make sure you follow us on social media, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever you choose to use these days, whatever your young kids are using, and we'll keep you up to date.
TikTok.
Yeah, absolutely. So the big shout out, obviously, guys, we have to do a big shout out to this man here, Eddie Van Halen. Today is actually the anniversary of his death. And historically, when we've done our EVH tribute shows, Simon and Brad, we've done them on the day, but we chose to do it Saturday this year, a day before the 6th. Next year, we'll do it on the Sunday. We'll actually do it on the day, so that'll be fine. But we had some great co-hosts and great guests. Brad,
Yeah.
join us. You were at the start, brother. Thank you for jumping on. And we had Jerry, John Conklin.
Yep.
A lot of guys on the show. Our brother John ZD351.
Big shout out to John. He
Yeah.
did an amazing job. He hung in there and held the fort down, which is great. Thank you so much, John. You're an absolute legend. Obviously, we had Chris Gill come on, which is amazing. Sir Alan Garber, who's always, a fine addition to the show. And also John Conklin. Did you say John Conklin at the start there? Tanner.
Johnny boy, yep.
And who else was on the show? Oh, I saw Caleb come on during the day. I watched the show back and I saw that and had some really good discussion point on Al's new book and a cheeky little comment towards the end of him before he left. It was great. I had a bit of a chuckle. But it's always good to get Caleb on, and it was a really good show, Andrew, and a massive shout out to you. It's a long effort for you to sit there and hold the fort down, and you did an amazing job as per usual, Andrew.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. As you guys know, we do it because we love it. We do it because it's a place where like-minded people can come together, and it's been a big part, Simon, of what we do here. An annual thing. Our Christmas show is something that we stream a few hours to take into account too. But 5.5 hours. We in the past we've done 6, 7, 8 hours. But I have to tell you guys, 5.5 hours. We've been doing this for a while, this gig for a while, and you get an appreciation, Simon, of when a good time is to end a show. And yesterday just felt right for us to pull the pin, even though Brad was breaking the law and speeding and busting through red lights to get back.
Look, I was 5-10 minutes away. And I saw you winding down because I was watching it live. I had it on in the car, and I'm like, "Oh, should I send him a message?" But I felt that the show was ready to wind down anyway, so I didn't bother. I thought it was a good opportunity to end the show rather than drag it out for another couple of hours. Andrew, it didn't seem right, so felt like it was a good opportunity where you cut it short and said it's time to end the show. I thought that was perfect.
Fantastic, bro. And as we said, we've mentioned some names of all the guys that jumped on, Les Paul. But I just want to do a special shout out to Jerry Leica, who joined us the first time he's been on the show. So Jerry, if you're watching on a replay, thank you, Jerry, for coming on. It was his first show. And as you said in the green room, bro, he was a pro right from the word go, which is fantastic. And also I want to do a special shout out. We've already mentioned him, but we have to John ZD351, Simon, for hanging out for a few hours with us as well, and just offering his dry humour and his dry wit and his dry analysis is always. It's always intriguing to see and hear what he's going to come up with, Simon.
Yeah, and of course Chris Gill.
Yes. He was amazing.
Chris Gill, who came again. So we're thankful that somebody of Chris's status, finds it worthwhile to come on. So thanks to Chris for coming on, contributing mightily as ever. That's that's really cool. I think some authority there that gives it some gravitas, isn't it?
Yeah, he sent me a message thanking thanking us for hanging out, and it's really nice. And I said no, we the thanks is all ours, and so he's keen to come on and do a show because he loves gear. He loves gear. He loves talking about gear. So as Alan mentioned in the show, he does a gear segment in Guitar World. So he's going to wants to come on and talk about the Lion, which is the Marshall in a box thing. So because we've got some experience playing Marshall amps, all of us, Brad included, the Rock Professor, so he's quite keen to come on and talk about that Lion pedal. So we'll jack something up with him, Brad.
Yeah, I actually I I got thrown off guard when Alan started asking me about all the Marshall gear, and I thought about it after I, left the show. I was like, oh, there's so many more things I could have said about the comparison between a Plexi and an 800, a Jubilee, because I know I've had, I've played them all. I've sat there in rehearsal rooms, in recording rooms, sorry, not rehearsal room, in recording rooms, and I've actually A-B'd like the Jubilees that I've got. I keep pointing to the wrong side with Friedmans and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's been, I've had a really good time, let's say, woodshedding with this stuff. So, yeah, it was good for Alan to throw me off guard there with that little question, but I reckon I could do a little bit more about that topic again as well. It's something that I know a lot about, and Chris Gill said he's got a Jubilee as well. So
Yeah,
that was really cool to hear. So yeah.
So keep the space. Keep a space open. Like we always say, we are in discussion and talking about this. The hardest thing is always to try and nail a time and a date with people being international. So that's always the difficulty. But Chris has always been accommodating. So once we get that sorted, Simon, we'll let people know, and we'll definitely go nuts with advertising it, because Chris Gill knows his shit, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, it certainly does. I'm working on a couple of other, guests with a fairly good name as well. I'll keep them a bit quiet at this stage. Maybe I'll tell you guys in the green room, but I'm going to start chipping away at a few extra things as well, and I think it'd be good for the channel. So yeah, one of them is a bit Van Halen related, and one of them obviously is NOS. So yeah,
awesome. So the Rock Professor is going to quickly talk about what he's been up to. Then he'll do a shout out. We see that we've got 11 people watching us. At some stages yesterday, we had about 29, 30 people watching us on the Van Halen show. So we don't do it for the views, folks. Trust me, but it's always humbling and motivating for us to have even, a couple of people hanging out with us. So the fact that there's 11 people here, Simon, watching the stream is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's really nice. The Van Halen show got 498 views, so 2 away from 500. So that's good views. It's fantastic. Lots of people watching, which is great. Yeah. Thanks to everyone who did. It's exciting, isn't it? Yeah, I've been having a jolly. Nowhere near it. I was on Friday. Where are we? Sunday, Friday night. Went to see my friend Ariel Posen, the Canadian singer-songwriter, in a small. Just telling the guys backstage that we went to this sort of small 200-seater venue. It's not very big. It was sold out, but it was lovely. It was like going to a jazz club. Basically, we basically had tables and chairs downstairs, and we had pizza beforehand. And then we sat and drank a beer, and me and my friend Paul, we sat and drank the beer and watched Ariel do stuff, and he was fantastic as ever. He's getting better, actually. He's getting more comfortable with his stage presence. He does more stuff. He gets the crowd to sing and stuff, and do 3-part harmonies. I'm saying that's a tiny part, but it gets everyone to do it. So he's getting better at doing that stuff, which is great to see. And just a bit of background, it's 2 years. Wednesday, it was 2 years to the day that my mum died. And the day after my mum died, I went to see Ariel in a place called the Thekla in Bristol. And he played the Thekla in Bristol on the Thursday, which would have been the anniversary of 2 years of him seeing it. So that was really cool. We didn't go to the Friday, so slightly less, but it was lovely that, and I look back on that. It was fantastic to go after that kind of shock of my mum dying, just to go and have the healing powers of a loud guitar, being played by Ariel.
That's amazing.
Good for the soul.
Amazing story. And God bless your mum too, mate. God bless your mum.
Yeah, we sold her. We finally sold her house on Wednesday, so it's so it's all a bit of a closure of a chapter this week. It's been a big week in the Williams household, so that's really nice. But
we've been very busy.
Hats off to Ariel. Well,
Yeah.
busy
problem.
run up, and it's been. I won't go into the saga of selling the house. It's been a pain in the neck.
No, no, we
Yeah,
won't.
we could mention my learned friends, but we won't. But no, it's been. But yeah, it's pleased to get it all over. And as I say, as ever, Ari was there to bookend it, and you know, he
Awesome.
was fantastic to play.
We've got
And,
Ray in the
who else?
chat, and he's been a
Morning,
fan
Ray.
of Cream for well, close to 50 years, Simon. And we've got Tony watching from Greece. You want to do a shout out to everybody?
I was going to say, Ray says, I remember back in '67, I saw the fellas at the Los Angeles. Back at that then, fantastic. So we have somebody who went to see him in '67. Ray, that's amazing. So we have Ellen, of course. Ellen Toll. Good morning, Ellen. Hope you're good.
Using
Gret Zeppelin. Morning, Gret. Just thinks we're trying to decide who's the prettiest. But we know. There we are. There he is. very own poster boy. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were highlighting because of the cub.
No.
No.
Oh, don't embarrass me. Sorry, Simon. Simon, continue, please.
Oh. No, not the cup. So yes, Ellen, Gretch, and 54 Mac Dog. Good morning to you. And who else we got? Arvin, of course. Good morning, Arvin. Hope you're well. Good to you. Tony
Hi,
Bowen,
bro.
who's live from Athens, Greece. He's meeting his Kiwi mates tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. And we have who else is Ray, of course. Good morning, Ray. That's fantastic to see you. Thanks for joining. I think that's everyone who's made a comment. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. But if anybody else wants to make a comment, of course we will shout you out and say good morning. It'd be
Brilliant.
great to hear from the people who are lurking or trying to get us to send them back to sleep.
Well, thanks, folks, for hanging out with us. I'll be honest and upfront with you. Brad was going to rank the tracks on this album because I'd mistakenly thought that the Rock Professor and I had ranked this album, but we've just actually found out that the Rock Professor and I basically did a show and we spoke about this album. So what we've decided quickly pre-show is that Brad's going to hold off his rankings. The Rock Professor and I will do our rankings, and when the album officially in November turns 57, we will rank this masterpiece together, the three of us together, and maybe we might want to get Jim or Hugh on or someone else, and another Cream Clapton nut might want to take advantage and pop on with us guys just to make the party just a little bit more thicker in that nice icing that you get sometimes on those special cakes.
Special cakes.
Why not?
Yes, I went back and watched the show because I didn't have any notes and I couldn't understand why I didn't have any notes. And I discovered that it's just me and Andrew playing a game called Play or Skip. So we went through each track, but we only decided whether we were going to play them or skip them.
Yeah. So we're going to do that in November, but we're going to take this opportunity. We've got some photos. We love talking about photos, so we've got some photos that we want to talk about, and this will be like a bit of a pre-show with some thoughts that we don't tend to get sometimes when we talk about a great album, guys. We don't get the opportunity to sort of say, I love this album, other than, in a track ranking, Simon. So because this album, for me, especially, every time I hear it, and the first time I heard it, is just an incredible album. And the influence this album had, not just Brad on you and I and the Rock Professor, but on every other bloody guitar player and musician and bass player and drummer that we know of. We were talking a little bit about this album yesterday with Alex Van Halen and Eddie Van Halen, and how this band, especially the live albums, had a huge influence on Eddie Van Halen, who in turn had a great influence, huge influence on us. So the fact that we can talk about that and do a bit of deep diving and some archaeology is great. Just a quick little intro, guys, because we'll do it again in November. But just bear in mind, this album was recorded, in a few days in 1967 in April in New York and released in November. A few months later, Simon, and it was their second album, and probably from my point of view, when you consider we ranked Fresh Cream a couple of weeks ago, the difference, Brad, on this album,
yes,
compared to Fresh Cream, it's a different band.
It's a different animal completely.
Yeah,
it's a different animal in my opinion. And continue, Andrew. I know you're on a tangent. I don't want to catch you off.
No. That's it. So yeah. I just got excited. I just got excited listening to this. In conjunction to, having that Fresh Cream in the back of my mind. I just want to make another point, and we've made this point. Please, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I just and Fresh Cream is connected, and we discovered this, didn't we, with the Beano album?
Yes.
Very much so. It's in that camp of the British Electric Blues. This album here, recorded not long after that album, is firmly over here in this camp of the British Electric Blues, Simon. It's remarkable.
Yeah. Interestingly, we're watching the show we did 4 years ago about it. We made the salient point about this album is that there's not much blues on it. It's a real, in it, and it interests me. The connection I sort of made in my head. I don't know if this is particularly weird, that Eric had left the Yardbirds on the ground. He didn't want to do kind of, For Your Love kind of, psychedelic pop. And here he is 2 years later doing a lot of psychedelic pop songs and kind of, all sorts of influences, all sorts of over the places, which is interesting. His trajectory and as an artist.
Can I just... Can I add something to your comment, Simon? Because I think your point is crucial. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Look, I hear what you're saying. That's the official line. But it's not the real line. Clapton couldn't stand. Clapton didn't want to play with those guys in the Yardbirds. They didn't like Clapton. It was Brad. We've all been there. We've been in a band. They didn't like the guy. It was a band where these guys were at each other's throats. So Clapton thinks, okay, I'm going to go and join this band with this Scotsman and this Irishman, and I'm an Englishman, so maybe we might have some kind of harmony, and we'll get together and unite around some music, and that just turns into another head. I won't swear, I promise, but another head, F-U-C-K. Doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Can I say, just quickly going back to the comment you said about it's like I said it's a different animal, this album, to Fresh Cream. I said when we ranked Fresh Cream that Clapton finally got that tone he was looking for with the Beano record. And he got that. Now I think this is the tone Clapton was going for with Fresh Cream and Beano. That's what I picked up through this, because progressively his tone is in that same ballpark, more blues sounding on Fresh Cream like Beano, but now he's got there's a clear clarity going on with the fuzz. Like there's something a little bit different. Obviously, he's using a fuzz on, say, Sunshine of Your Love. You can hear it; it's there. But I reckon he's finally got his tone. Like that. That's what he was searching for.
And because of those amps you got behind you, he's gone from this little piddly little 50-watt blues breaker to those 100 watts behind you.
And I think that's what maybe with Beano and Fresh Cream, he was getting his sound. And people keep going back to Beano, and I think people are overlooking Fresh Cream and this record as being Clapton's tone. Beano record, don't get me wrong, I love the tone on that. But I think this record is that tone that Clapton was going for at that time. I think he finally
Correct.
discovered it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, a little bit of technology he was using. Obviously, the wah. You know, the wah was a big part of his sound that you're saying. And there's a
Yes.
crucial comment also. You know, that 54 Mac Dog has made in the comments here. Felix Pappalardi's contribution to this band. You know, and getting that sound out to Simon. We can't underestimate how he was that person who put that thick slice of icing on the cake.
Of course, went on to form Mountain with Leslie West. You know, as a 3-piece directly off of the back of this. I think on the back of Cream, sure. That's the great Leslie West. Yeah.
The playing on I'm not going to go into the tracks because it'll ruin my track rankings when we get to it.
Sure.
But just like the way he uses the wah pedal in, especially one of the songs on this record, gives it that real psychedelic edge. I think like that was followed on by so many bands of this era. Whether Clapton was initially the first person to do it or not, I'm not going to say 100%, guys, but I think he would be one of the very first to use a wah pedal in the way that it's used on this record.
No argument from me, and I want to talk to you guys about this. Is your Les Paul handy?
Yes.
Can you do me a favor, bro? Can you grab a Les Paul?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'll just pull it out now.
No problem. I'll
pull it out.
You're going to go and grab it?
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah.
He's got a theory.
I just we have, and I obviously you being a guitar player, you are going to contribute to it as well.
I have used the wah-wah pedal on occasions.
I really hope Ray is still in here because he saw Clapton and he's been a guitar player and he's been playing this kind of music for a long time. So I'll be interested to hear what he has to say. And what we talk, what I'm going to broach for a conversation piece for the next couple of minutes, Simon, is nothing new. I'm sure. And I can't remember us talking about this, but I think it offers some kind of connection to Clapton's sound around this time, because I think Brad's hit the nail on the head. Sonically, though, this album sounds remarkably different from Fresh Cream, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, absolutely. Yeah. It's a broadening out of the sound. It's an investigation into, you know, they use all sorts of different sounds and different styles and things. And I think absolutely, it's, you know, it's kind of it's in keeping with the times, that, you know, the zeitgeist of the times, where, you know, we're talking about 67, where, you know, the future's wide open, isn't it? There's no limits, there's no barriers to what you can do, and pop music is moving from being a singles based thing to being an albums based thing in that period. And
awesome,
you know, those different styles, those different elements that come in, as you said, you know, the wah-wah pedal particularly and Tales of Brave Ulysses is one of the first recordings to use a wah-wah pedal, along with Burning the Midnight Lamp and things. So it becomes a really important album, I think, in a way that groups like Mountain and you know, came off the back of it, and I think that's really interesting. You know, it's still continuing to innovate, and it's not, you know, it's a continuation. To me, it's a continuation of that Beano sound and that Beano, you know, Clapton, as Brad has said, you know, you go from the small Marshalls to the bigger Marshalls, and Clapton's not unique in that. Other people are doing it too, but then you go from that to that, and you know, but also you're, you know, you know, it's interesting that they're broadening out their sound, they're broadening out their musical their musical horizons, taking in as many different influences as they can. We can get into that in more
Awesome.
detail when we break the tracks. But yeah.
Hey,
Brad,
Dead
have you got the guitar?
Fish Cheese Spread. Thank you for joining us. That's a new name. Thank you. And Love Egg, thank you for joining us. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us. So Brad, you've raised an issue, and a really, really interesting thing that I'd love to talk to you guys about and see if you think there's some kind of connection there. Now, Clapton had been playing a Les Paul on the first album,
Yep.
and with John Mayall. He goes to an SG on the second album.
Yep.
The 12th fret on an SG, Brad, is way up here. So the space that he has as a guitar player,
yep,
he's got lots and lots of room, Brad.
Before he gets to, because if anyone understands what Andrew's saying, the back of a Les Paul, so there's the 12th fret. I'll mark it with my finger there.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've only got a small area and a cutaway to get up on those high frets, like up here. Like say that's your 12 there, and then you go up to here, so that
Correct.
very hard.
Whereas
to
on
like,
on an SG, you've got there's a and as we know, an SG sits forward more as opposed to back.
yes.
So Clapton, as we know, was playing an ES 335 Simon. Brad, you've also in the past, like me, you've played and known the Firebird. The Firebird is the same kind of configuration with the 12th fret as well. So
Yes.
so how crucial or important do you guys think just having the hardware?
I think
Was that an influence or a determining factor?
Well, I mean, obviously the tonality, there's a slight difference with an SG and a Les Paul too. The SG is a little bit more bitier, Andrew. It's got a little bit more bite. I think SG's got more bite than a Les Paul generally. I'm not saying in most cases, but generally a Les Paul's a bit of a darker tone than an I'm getting it wrong. The Les Paul is definitely a darker tone than an SG, and I think that might contribute to a lot of what you're saying, Andrew. Secondly, to back up what you're saying, that 12th fret position, allowing him to get higher with his soloing and things like that with ease, without that restriction. And I mean, I love a Les Paul so much that it's really my main guitar that I always play. But I always do say that as soon as you get past your 12th fret up to your 15th or 17th, it starts to become a bit of a headache to play, and you are compromising because you almost like your hand on the back is like clawing. It's not like you're playing. Where I think that definitely would have a big emphasis on what he's doing on guitar wise, because you tend to not go past your 12th fret on Les Paul. You try not to until you're soloing, really.
Yeah. So, and look, and we're not saying, please, if you're watching on a replay and if you're live here in the chat now with us, all Brad and I and the Ruck Professor are doing are just offering thoughts and opinions and some points that we've just picked up as guitar players, Brad and Simon ourselves. But yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Brad. To solo when you're that high up on your neck or low, wherever you want to call it, high or low, definitely gives you so much more freedom than a Les Paul, and I think he kind of liked that. I think Clapton liked that, bro. If that makes sense, gave him a bit of freedom because he was jamming. a lot of those solos and songs, Simon, that they were doing, some of those jams, even early on, were, you know, 10-minute jams, Brad.
Well,
100%.
I was gonna make a more practical point. Do you think one of the reasons why I moved to the SG is if you're playing longer shows, longer songs, a guitar that weighs £6 is a lot easier to do than a guitar that weighs £10.
100%.
You know, he's not the most, you know, muscular guy, Eric. I just wonder if, you know, I don't know whether the old bat would have given him trouble there. But part of my point is a purely practical one of, you know, the SG is a way lighter guitar than the Les Paul. Similar tone, as you said, Brad, a bit darker. The Les Paul's a bit darker, but similar tone, a bit more flexibility in the neck, but actually also much lighter. And if you're going to be playing, you know, Cream clearly got into that jamming and that kind of, you know, longer songs and all that stuff. You know, what easier way of doing it than on a light guitar, as you say, with a bit more flexibility above the 12 frets, but also that lightness that to save your back kind of thing, you know. Because I'm sure that if you play a 2-hour show with the Les Paul, you probably know about it unless you're fairly light. But
no, you're right. That's probably a very valid point too. I'd say the Les Pauls are notoriously a lot heavier than an SG. That's 100% true. That, and they're a bit more denser. I think the SG is a thinner piece of mahogany for the body, which makes it lighter. And you've got one there, Andrew, obviously. So you know exactly what the difference is. I played an SG. I played a fair few of them actually, and they're great guitars. And it does take
100% lighter. 100%.
It takes a bit of time to adjust to it. I will say that, because of the position of a Les Paul. Once you get used to it, when you're playing an SG, you're bringing everything forward, as Andrew suggested a little bit before. But I will also say that woman tone on an SG does sound remarkably better than a Les Paul, I have to say, because it's a little bit brighter, the SG. So when you go that woman tone, which is rolling that tone flat, basically, for nobody understands what that is, you're rolling that tone control on the guitar, whether it be your neck or your bridge, but notoriously on the neck pickup, rolling it backwards. So you're cutting out all the top end, or the treble, if anything. So basically you're flattening the treble. But if they're a bit more trebly, it emphasizes that a little bit more, Andrew and Simon. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to really explain it properly, but I think that might be a reason too. And it's a very valid point. Very valid point.
We've been really, really lucky, folks, on a couple of these shows. If you go back and have a look on the channel, Brad and I did a midweek show a couple of years ago talking about Les Pauls, and Brad did a demo. And I'm sure in preparation for the show that we do on this, we'll get Brad, he'll plug in and he'll do a quick demo when we do that show of the difference of the woman tone. Again, so another good reason why you need to come back and watch the Ranking of the Tracks show. But good point, bro. Very good point.
I'm plugged into a little practice amp if you want to hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, go on then. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. If you play,
I'll just
I didn't realise, bro.
I don't know if you can hear that. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's not very loud. It's not very loud. It's very in the background, but yeah, you can hear it.
Now let me just turn it up a tiny bit.
Guitarist answer to everything. Turn it up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So this is neck pickup with the tone control completely on full, so its treble is up. And then when I roll it backwards, could you hear the difference?
Yep.
I mean, will we get flagged if I was to play the riff?
Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we
You're pretty good at it, Brad. It's bound to get
Yeah.
flagged, mate. Is it?
Yeah.
So I mean, what I'll do is I'll just play like an open chord of D, yeah. And then that's with the tone completely up. Now with it flat. Can you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure, yeah.
Very flat. It's got that flat tone. Yeah. You know, and then with the bright tone in there. I'll come up with something a little bit better for the ranking of the tracks, and I'll do a better one.
No problem, bro. But
Okay,
thank you for that. But definitely from our perspective, guys, and if you're watching on a replay and you think that we're barking up the wrong tree or a different tree, please let us know. But clearly to our minds, and it seems to be everybody else that's joining us in the chat, Brad and Simon, everything is progressing. The gear, the technology, the equipment, the producer, being in America, in one of the most up-to-date recording studios in the world, Simon.
Yeah. I think you're right. And also, I think it's important. The artistic vision is also growing as well. Broadening out. It's not, you're not just playing rock and roll. You're not just playing blues. You're playing almost whatever comes to mind. And you can play. You can play a country song. You can play a musical song. You can play any style you like. You can make up your own styles. You can folk rock, whatever you like is whatever. Is whatever's going to be played, and I think that's really important. That time was such a such an such an open time for artistic development, and as well as the technology as well. So it's all coming together, in that sort of melting pot of artistic endeavor, to produce fantastic, not only this, but soon we'll have Sergeant Pepper's, Revolver, all those brilliant records that you think about, and the Floyd starting as well then, and you think hundreds of bands, Zeppelin, and they're all pushing them forward in their own way. And you've got kind of the progressive rock thing that's about to turn up as well. Yes, and Genesis and all those things that are about to appear. So I think you can't underestimate what an extraordinary time it was. I think myself, could be wrong. That's what I feel about it. Is that it's one of those times when all the planets align, all the stars align, and and something magical and incredibly special comes out. That only happens once in a blue moon.
Yeah, I think they were pioneers of what is considered psychedelic rock. I think they were pioneers of that whole genre because of this record, From Fresh Cream to This. This album is very psychedelic blues. It's not what you would consider to be a blues record, like you guys mentioned. It's far from it. There's a couple of blues things on there that are towards the tail end of the record, but for the majority and for the most part, blues influenced, but psychedelia. The addition of the SG and the wah pedals being used and all that stuff. Yeah, it's really brought that in. And I think they really honed in on a couple of the tracks, to really emphasize that psychedelic vibe which I'm not saying that these guys were the first at doing it, but they're definitely the pioneers of it. You know what I mean? They're definitely the pioneers of psychedelic rock, if you ask me.
Oh, one of them, yeah,
100%, 100%. You know, there's no doubt about it from me. And, you know, I'm just going to do an overlay here of the album cover. So Martin, the guy that did this album cover, Simon, you know, the one behind me there, you know, the prerequisite for him before he designed it was to take copious amounts of LSD. He admits it. You know, he doesn't say, and I'm going to just, during the course of the show, just hold up a couple of things for you guys to have a look at. But if you grab this DVD, Cream, it's the classic album series. I can't find every website that I've gone to that has it. I can't view it here in my country, Brad and Simon, but some other countries might be able to get it. So if it's on YouTube, but go and check it out. It's well worth it. But Martin doesn't talk about the prerequisite, Brad, of LSD when he talks about developing the album cover, but and we've got to say it, Brad and Simon. You know, this is the beginning of the psychedelic era. And one of the ingredients, one of the key components of the psychedelic era, Brad, is
acid.
Yeah, good boy. He got top of the class. No,
See,
but we'll take that one.
On the drugs, me.
LSD.
No, I'm going to go with the wah pedal answer.
Yeah.
I like the wah pedal. And that documentary or that making of the record is outstanding. If anyone's never seen it, you have to go and watch it. And there's other great, making classic albums made in that same format too that we won't talk about right now. But go and look at that series of classic albums. It's fantastic if you can find it.
No problem. I just want to make a comment to Mikey in the chat here. Mikey, we don't talk politics on the channel, Mikey. So thank you for your comment, but we try all the time to just focus on the music and the topic. So none of us will answer the question, bro. If you understand, it's just easier and safer for us to talk about the music. So
absolutely no religion and no politics.
Yeah. Well, the same thing. Well, it's the same thing. Religion, politics, all same thing to me. But yeah. If that makes sense. But yeah, Brad, I agree with you. We spoke about a couple of DVDs over the course of this show, haven't we? The three of us, and definitely, these classic album series are well worth the weight in gold.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Andrew, did you say you're going to show some photos?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So, we love cream.
Love a good photo.
We love cream.
We love
creams.
Photos and all that stuff.
So this is a still, and I'll talk about a book that these relate to. So obviously, Taken Under Lights in New York. That's Eric. Bit foggy there, but there's Ginger and Eric. Now here's an interesting little piece of information, guys, that I'd like to share with you. If I can just put us back. Remember when we were talking about fresh cream and we made the connection that establishment journalists were anticipating this new album that Fresh Cream were coming out. They were excited about it themselves, and they helped create a little bit of buzz around Fresh Cream. What's really interesting, I didn't realize this, and again, it's one of the great things about, reading and talking to people and watching, YouTube. Some some journalists were actually pissed off with this album when it was released. So I'm going to read this out. So this is Steve Thomas
fantastic.
from Bristol, which is not far from where
That's around the corner from me.
where the rock, you know. So it could be a relative of the. So what do the Cream? What are the Cream trying to do? Disraeli Gears must be one of the worst records a British group has ever made. Releasing an LP with both sides of the last single, including reduces the tracks to 8 for most fans, and Take It Back sounds as if it was recorded at your nearest swimming baths. It was an insult to Cream fans. So Simon and Brad, you've got the establishment coming out saying this is a crap album, but the fans turned around and said, no, it's not.
Wow.
I don't think well, he's a fan clearly, but I don't think it was viewed as being particularly.
No,
I think
it's just
that is funny.
It's just he came from Bristol.
Well, yes, boy from the provinces, showing his muscles there, and yes, this is rubbish. Stop that now. Get back to the blues.
But here's the
Brilliant.
counterbalance that, the Record Mirror, had some good information there about Eric, and Eric's just talking about the album. And Eric, as we know, if you've watched the DVD, Brad and Simon, Eric's very proud of this album. He was very, very proud of it.
Yeah.
Quite rightly. Yeah. I think that it should be, with that revolutionary, that period, isn't it? The late 60s, and helping to shape it. Fantastic. Look at those guitars. Look at those painted guitars. Beautiful.
Yeah.
This is what we're after. This is what they want. Zoom in.
Wow. So definitely a very interesting band to look at. Is that, you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. 100%, bro. There's a famous photo here of Clapton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just
the Fool. That's what it was nicknamed, wasn't it?
That's the Fool guitarist. Yeah.
You got it, bro.
Hmm. Didn't that go to auction a few years ago? Or I think we did a show on it, didn't we?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Years ago? Yeah. Unbelievable.
And there's one there of Jack Bruce early on with Cream playing his EB bass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that they were using all this gear, and for decades later, musicians are still trying to source this gear and play it, and they go away from it. When they did their reunion, they tried to use all the same gear and it just didn't work, so they went to the gear they're used to. And obviously, for example, Clapton is using Fender. You know what I mean? It's remarkable that people are still trying to buy this gear and utilize this gear to record and play with, but they moved on and they still sounded like Cream on different equipment. It was unbelievable. So it just goes to show it has a lot to do with the musician, doesn't it? Really.
Well, and that's a good point, and we've discussed this a few times, and I love talking about it. The fact that they did, as you said correctly, Brad. In 2005, when we've done a couple of shows on that DVD recording, we've ranked that thoroughly, and we've done a couple of intro shows on it, where Clapton and Jack Bruce in particular talk about how they went and got their gear. And thought that was their first instinct, was to go and get, a Les Paul, and Jack Bruce to go and get an EB. And Jack Bruce, and he talks about that. Well, in his biography, he talks about how he was keen to go and do that. But the thing is, though, Brad, he hadn't played an EB bass for 20 years.
Mm.
He'd been he'd been playing a fretless Warwick bass, basically for the last 20 years, and it was it had nothing to do with the fact that, from what I understand, the sound, or it was everything to do with the mechanics. He just couldn't play it.
Yeah.
Practical.
Yeah, but it
Down
was
to practicality.
the reunion shows, as we've discussed, were outstanding. You know what I mean? And they used different gear, but they still sounded like Cream, really. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Well, so does that go back to the argument, guys, that it's in the fingers?
Well, I think it's
Probably.
a lot to do with the musician as a whole. Their heart, their soul. You know what's coming through the music. Their spirit of the musician. That obviously they, exactly what what you've just thrown up on the screen there. John's already told us, so no, don't worry about even discussing it.
All right, okay. All right. See you later. Bye, folks.
Yeah, it's it's still a good point, and I think if you're going to play, musicians like. Someone can play, like for me, I can play Les Paul or a Strato. Or I can go play, if I was ever lucky enough to play, say, Eric Clapton's rig, it'd probably still sound like me. I wouldn't sound like Eric Clapton. You know what I mean? I think it's the musician. But they obviously had grown themselves as musicians by the time they got to the Cream reunion shows. But I guess we're deviating a little bit away from this masterpiece, Disraeli Gears. But the point being, we were discussing, and you showed photos, Andrew, of a lot of their gear, and the Marshalls and everything like that obviously just didn't work for them moving forward. So, progression. People move forward, but they still sound like Cream. So, so the player.
Well, it's been said a lot, isn't it? That you can give Clapton almost anything, and he still sounds like Eric. It almost doesn't matter what guitar, what amp, what anything, just sounds like Eric,
I've had these debates in my early years online of, when I first used to get really cut, when people would comment stupid things, and now I just don't, I move on. I don't even read them. But when I was on forums for, say, like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and people were adamant you had to have this guitar, you had to use these strings, you had to use a tube screamer, you had to use this amp, you needed a Dumble, you needed all these different things to sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I used to say, you could stick Stevie Ray Vaughan on a Squier Stratocaster through a Rage 108 PV practice amp, he'd still sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. And they were blasting me like I was an idiot. I'll be going, but that's the truth. Pick up any guitar, you sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan. So that's our point here, is what we're saying.
Yeah, I just want to do another little shout out to Mikey here. Thanks for your comment, mate. But again, yes, rock and roll is politics, but we're sticking to the music, Mikey. So thanks for the comment. And I don't understand your comment here about passivity towards Townsend. So
Arvin's timed him out.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's right. Okay. Go then. All right. Thank you, Mod.
Move on. Like I said, you move on.
Banhammer.
Yeah. Yeah. We just yeah. You can come in here and disagree with us. That's fine. Please do. But don't go fishing for us to have a political conversation. You want to talk politics to me? I'll give him a phone number and we'll have a conversation after the show. I'll love to.
Yeah, not here.
Yeah.
I talk about
not here.
The cultural revolution and all sorts of other things, but not the politics.
Yeah, I think we're here to focus on the music, which is the point, isn't it? Really. But I get what he's saying. I understand, but we definitely do not buy into it here. So, back to Disraeli Gears, guys.
Yeah, back to Disraeli Gears. So, Well, yeah, like I say, a masterpiece of an album, hugely influential for me as a guitar player, Brad. You know, when I was younger, I mentioned it to you guys before. When I first heard this album, I didn't get it, and you got to remember when I first heard this album back in the olden days, not too olden, but "Sunshine of Your Love" wasn't on classic radio, Brad. So all these songs, you know, for a long, long time, you know, you didn't hear on the radio, Brad.
No, not for a very long. But there was a time there in the, I guess in the 90s when I was doing my apprenticeship, you'd always hear, you know, Clapton, Layla, and all these sort of things on classic rock radio. But then you would start hearing Cream being played. So, but it's definitely these days I don't hear a lot of Cream on the radio. Actually, that's a really big point to deviate a little bit away. I just mentioned Layla. Tom Dowd helped engineer this record, didn't he, Andrew? Is that
Yes.
correct? Tom Dowd?
Yes.
So the tie between that and Layla and other assorted love songs, it stems back to here. He's working with Clapton moving forward.
Well, we've made this point before. When Dowd was recruited to record the Layla album, he was expecting Clapton to walk in with 5 Marshall stacks, you know. Yeah. That's what they were preparing themselves for. We've mentioned this a few times on the channel, and, you know, they turn up with little champs.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah. And that's another big point there you just made, Andrew. This is just going to roll right into millions of different crossroading type. And notice how I said crossroad
Good boy.
discussion point.
Get it all in. Lever.
The Cream gear, and then not long after he's recording Layla with a completely different setup.
Remarkable, isn't it? Remarkable.
Removed away significantly from big amps and that big tone to a what I consider to be a twangier tone. I'm not going to say thinner, twangier sound, and way smaller amps to record with.
Hey, Jim.
That there's a basic thing about that, isn't there? That, and I was conscious of this, that I was conscious of this seeing our reel on Friday, that if you're a 3-piece, each instrument has to fill a lot of space. As soon as you've got guitars, bass, drums, organ, you know, the amount of space that your guitar can inhabit shrinks, doesn't it? You know, in the harmonic, you know, the harmonic structure of a song. So in effect, you know, if you're the guitar player in a 3-piece, which is what we're talking about here,
yes,
you need to make a big sound, you know, plenty of bass, plenty of mid, because you're the only other person who's not getting in your way is the bass player, you know, and the drums. Whereas if you're in a group, as I say, with another guitar player, keyboard player, you know, you've got Dwayne Norman, you've got Bobby Whitlock, and you've got bass. So all of a sudden, you've got a much smaller space to inhabit harmonically.
Yes,
and I think that's really important. You know, and clearly a Fender is going to do that in a different way than a Les Paul. You know, a Les Paul is better when it's, you know, you notice, don't you, that Les Paul's work. I know there's exceptions, but you know, in this kind of era, all those bands that are using Les Pauls are 3-pieces. You know, instrumentally, you know, Led Zeppelin, you know, Free. I know they got 4 people and they have a singer, but you know, basically it's 3 instruments.
Yeah.
So in effect,
until
the guitar has to take a lot of space until
Jimi Hendrix,
the wah-wah.
the wah-wah as well. But Jimi Hendrix was using the Strat, so but introduction to
the Strat with a fuzz.
Yeah, the fuzz would make it sound flat, and there is fuzz on Disraeli Gears. I mean, he's using fuzz on there. So this was the era of innovation. They were experimenting with tones and sounds, and you know, utilizing. Unlike today, you can go and buy a pedal. These day guys that can cover and do so many different array of sounds and textures, and where back then it was very basic. You bought a fuzz that did one thing and you had to work with it to make it do different things. A wah pedal, how you use that with your rhythm playing could accentuate and make the song sound more psychedelic instead of using it like an expression pedal. You know what I mean? To actually make it more psychedelia. I think that's, back then, I mean, you can go and buy a small pedal. These days, guys that do everything is what I'm saying. And back then they're very limited in what they could do with pedals. So the innovation of using a fuzz was something that, like Hendrix would live in Monterey, he's got his fuzz face pretty much on the whole gig, regardless whether it's soft and mellow, like Wind Cries Mary, or he's playing Wild Thing and smashing a guitar. His fuzz face is left on. It's all rolling the volume back and forth to get different tones. That's what
I'd
I'm
also
trying to
say, Brad, that Noel Redding is playing through Marshalls, so he's got, and we've remarked on it when we've done regular, that's quite a fuzzy bass sound as well. So in effect, you're kind of, whereas Jack Bruce, I think is, for me is more cleaner. I'm listening to Disraeli Gears this week. That bass sound is pretty clean. Yeah,
it's a very clear sound. Yes.
So you're kind of, you're balancing off. You've got two instruments to fit, doing the filling up bit rather than, I think, maybe in Cream, it's really the Les Paul that's doing all the, the big sound kind of thing. And
it's not until they're playing live where Jack Bruce's bass tone sounds remarkably different to this album, Simon. You go and listen to live albums that we've ranked, and his bass is completely, good. So it's a good point. Yes, that live, two different bands again, Simon.
Yeah.
Live is a different thing to.
The point I was trying to get to is exactly what 54 Mac Dog has just said. Limitation of those pedals brought out the player's creativity, is what I was trying to say, and he's put it in a really a complete etiquette way. So thank you. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say in a big long-winded story, and he's put it in one sentence.
Yeah, no problem.
Morning,
G'day, Alex. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you. Yeah.
Awesome. So like I say, folks, we're going to be coming back here to celebrate the ranking of the tracks between us, and we're going to put an invitation out. We've got Jim in the chat. Jim, if you want to join us next month, we're going to be celebrating proper the 57th birthday of this album by ranking the tracks. So, Jim, if you want to come on and join the Rock Professor and the Backdoor Man and I, you're more than welcome. We'd love, in fact, we know that he's a Cream Clapton nut, so we'd love to have him on.
Seen Eric a lot, hasn't he?
100%.
Jim.
And also something that I don't know if anyone here in the chat has prepared rankings. Hang on to them because we'll use them for that.
You don't throw that away. And if you want to do some research and get some material or some information to read or study, go and check out this paperback here. It's a cheap paperback. It's called Ginger Baker Hellraiser. There's 3 chapters on this band. I won't give you any spoilers. I haven't done a book review on this yet, but go and check that out. Ginger Baker offers a great interpretation of what was happening with the band. Obviously, you have to go and check out Eric Clapton. He's got a whole chapter on Cream, obviously, too, Brad, and it's more than just a couple of pages long. There's also I've been trying to get this guy on the channel. He's an Italian guy. His name is Edoardo Genzolini. He did this book. Go and check this out. But his English isn't very good, Brad, and I can't speak Italian. So
my Italian's not great.
Need more of this, Andrew. Hey, ciao, bella.
I love Italy. I love Italy, and one thing I learned when I was in Italy is you have to talk with your hands, like Simon said. That's how
you got it, bro.
You know,
Hey.
Yeah. but a fantastic book worth checking out, and also this one here by Dave Thompson, which came out a few years ago, Cream as well. Go and check it out. We had the pleasure of doing the Led Zeppelin DVD set. Cream have a version, well, a DVD set too, which is worth checking out, which is a selection of live performances. So go and check that out, folks, and we'll be back ranking this album next month. I just want to reiterate, we got Bent Tom in the chat. He was with us yesterday.
Morning. Tom, hope you're well, mate. Hope it's all going.
Thank you,
okay.
Tommy. For joining us. So to give you some news, Brad won't be here next weekend. Is that right, Brad? Because what are you doing? Getting married?
I've got an interstate gig, which will I've gone playing a Friday and a Saturday night, and I think the flights are during the day on Sunday, which means I probably won't get back to pretty late on Sunday afternoon or evening, and I just don't want to put pressure on anyone on the show or myself to try and make it on time. So rather than do that, I'll be pretty cooked as well, I reckon, after 2 nights of playing tonight. So yeah.
So you're not as young as you were.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm trying to get my fitness up, and I'm trying to. It's just that age thing keeps
on the trot
away, and I find myself at night 9:30. I'm ready to tuck myself into bed.
Yes.
So the Rock Professor and I will be here next weekend. John ZD351 is in the chat, so we might have a message. We might do some messaging and see if John ZD351 is free next weekend, if he wants to come and look after the hot seat.
Yes.
And John can speak Italian, apparently. He just put in the chat.
Is there he's clickbait for the channel too, Andrew? Let's be honest.
Oh yeah.
He's handsome.
Well, the short hair. Bent Tom reckons suits you, bro.
Thanks, thanks, mate. The lawnmower won the fight. It cut my hair, but anyway, that's a whole nother lawnmower story.
What's it? Tell me who your hairdresser's not go around and punish him for that.
Thank you, John. We'll consider that wonderful opportunity, but if you're going to be around next week and you want to jump on the channel, the Rock Professor and I and you will have a chat. We'll pick a topic. We'll get together and spend an hour and a half together. I'm sure we can find something to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think after that, the weekend after that, I've got the album to rank. So I need to pick an album for us to rank.
That weekend that you're not available though, Andrew?
No, the weekend I'm not available is the last weekend. So yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
So that'll be the week of the 20th. So don't panic.
Yes.
So John reckons he's going to be free. So do you want to pick an album, John?
You don't need to rank it. You can just come on and talk about it, or you guys can rank it, whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah. That's a good point, John. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a ranking. Yeah, if you want to pick an album that you want us to chat about for an hour and a half, let us know. We'll message each other. Is that it?
Look, can I just say one thing? The passing of Eddie Van Halen hit everyone very hard, and obviously Clapton was a big influence to Eddie. So I just want to quickly, it's the celebration today officially of Eddie's passing, and I think in America and everything it'll probably be getting close to the 6, if not already. So let's all raise a glass and later go and listen to the late great Ed Van Halen, and geez, I'm choking up a little bit, but just go and listen to some Ed. Go and listen to, I was listening with my son a bit earlier. We were listening to, is this love? How do I know this is love? And and every song like there was cheeky or love related, and I love that about Van Halen. There's some darker topics, obviously, but I love the lyrical content of the band, even with all three members of the band. You know, the music's great. Listen to the music, listen to the all 3 years of the band, you know, and appreciate it for what it is. So don't go Dave, Sammy, Gary, whatever. Just listen to the music. It's beautiful, you know. I'm hooked on Humans Being at the moment. That's one song I've listened to about 6 times today. So go and listen to. Normally I do a moment's silence or whatever, but don't be silent. Go crank some Van Halen.
Cheers, bro. Well done. We'll definitely do that. And John ZD351, bro, we'll be in touch if you're keen to jump on and hang out with us. Otherwise, it'll just be the Ruck Professor and I.
We'll think of something.
John, I agree. It's in one of my playlists, and it's right at the start of the playlist, so it's first or second or third song that always comes on. I love it. Yeah, go and listen to Humans Being. It's on YouTube. The film clip to it. I love the film clip. I love the sound. It's a great version. Great song.
Everything about it.
Yeah.
Miss you, Edward.
Yeah. God bless.
Miss you, Edward. Everything you gave us. Yeah, and we are, you know, we spent a big chunk of the show yesterday talking about our thoughts and opinions and views and hopes and aspirations for the new Alex Van Halen biography. We were lucky enough to have a lot of guys contribute, and there were a couple of points that I just want to end the show on. You know, it was made clear to me that also we got to remember that it's not just Alex's biography, it's Eddie's biography too. So that was a really, really good point. Yeah, we look forward to it. And we'll be doing a show a week after that comes out. You know, we'll jump on. We'll give everyone a week to at least digest some pages or some chapters. And we'll come here with a few guys, Brad, and we'll be talking about it. Can't wait for that.
Can I make this? I think I made the suggestion yesterday, Andrew, to do it in 2 or 3 parts.
Yeah.
Maybe we should stick to that and do a certain amount of the book so we can really absorb it properly without trying to, you know, power through it and miss. You know, when I try to power through a book in a week or something, there's a lot you don't take in. It's better to absorb it properly and sit and really read it. And I don't know if I've got time in a week to read a whole book these days, to be honest with you.
No, I'll certainly be giving, I'll be giving it a good nudge. And if there's one thing that I want to remind you folks of, if there's a takeaway quote from the show tonight, that's Brad's quote is, you know, what's the key ingredient to psychedelic rock, folks? It's not LSD, it's the wah-wah pedal.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Hey, that's a new slogan for the show.
Face facts, it is LSD. Everybody knows that.
No, it's the wah pedal.
Yeah. John ZD351, you weren't here earlier when we were doing some shout outs to you, so you're here now. So we just want to say again, thank you, bro, for hanging out with us yesterday, for being a big part of the show and your contribution. It was just fantastic. Never take it for granted. Thank you, bro.
I did say backstage, John, to the guys in the green room before we came live today, you're an utter gentleman the way that you even mute yourself when you're not talking. It's remarkable. You know when to unmute it to talk, and then you mute. It's like you give everyone enough ample time and space without cutting in and everything. That's you're an expert now, mate. You're better than us, so we better watch our jobs here, guys.
No problem. And Tom, if you want to come on that EVH Alex Van Halen show that we're going to do, I'm going to give you an email here. I'm going to put it in the chat for you to email me, okay? So if you can email me at so we can talk. And it'll be the same day and same time that we went live yesterday, to give you a bit of an idea. It'll be a Saturday for us around that time, which whatever will be a Friday for you. Makes it much really easy for our North American guys.
It's about 7 p.m. in America. That's I think 8 p.m. 7 p.m.
So if you want to write that down, kiwiclapton@gmail.com. Bent, if you want to come on. Or Tommy. But I like calling you Bent. Because you are. It makes me laugh when I see that, because one of my best friends, his name's Brent Robb. He passed away of cancer, unfortunately. He was involved in the first production of the Lord of the Rings, the first one that came out, and he was working very closely with Liv Tyler. Anyway, his name was Brent Robb, but we used to call him Bent. And I'll tell you off air why we called him Bent. I won't do it public. I won't do it live.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, Bent. Right, so he's got it. So, yeah, bro, if you want to join us on that stream, you're more than welcome.
Yeah.
Is that us? You're a rock professor? Is that us?
We're good.
Yeah. Go away and nurse my cold.
All right.
Oh,
thrillingly.
You can do the shout out then, rock professor.
Get well,
Yeah.
Simon.
Oh, well, that's just makes you not sleep very well and snot a lot. It's not very exciting.
Cold.
I went,
Brad,
hey, Tom,
is cold.
great to see
You know,
you.
he goes to a gig, eh? He goes to a gig, you know, and then he comes back with a cold. It's not really a cold.
No, we know what
it is really, but it is just a cold. The point is, it's just a cold, not anything else.
Andrew's got proof of what you get up to outside of the house there, Simon. Well, it may be even in your house. Before
Oh dear. Anyway, let me. So, Brent, Tom, great to see you, Brent. That's a fantastic tour. that you're all right. I know you've had some health issues recently, so we hope you're recovering from all of that nonsense. Yeah. Ellen, Tol, thanks, Ellen. Every week you're here, which is fantastic. I hope you're well as well. Dead fish cheese spread, great name. Choose 4 words, put them together. Yeah, great stuff. Like swordfish trombone, that isn't it? That's what it reminds me of. So thanks to you, John Z2351. See you next week. We'll do something. I think that'd be great. Jimmy Ray Hawkins, nice to see you, Jimmy. Dropping in. A lot of people dropping in. It's been great. John Benton, moving back up. At Arvin as well. Thanks, Arvin. Sterling work today on the 54 Mac Dog. Really good. Alex Radford. Great to see you, Alex. Thanks for dropping by. And we've got Gret Zeppelin as well at the top of the thing, and Tony Bowen as well. Nice to see you, Tony. Hope you have fun at the Acropolis. Love Egg. It's a great. The names. Ray as well. Ray, Jim as well. Thanks, Jim, for dropping by. Hope to see you soon. That'll be good.
Yep.
So I think that's everybody. Fantastic. So thanks all for dropping by, contributing, and Johnny Harbreaker dropping it. Nice to see you, Johnny, as well. Thanks for dropping by. And we'll see you next week. We'll be back to ranking something.
Awesome. Dead fish cheese spread seen the Grateful Dead 19 times.
19 times.
Wow.
I remember watching the documentary series on Amazon a couple of years ago on the Grateful Dead. I didn't know anything about them, just a few songs and stuff like that. But boy, what an eye opener!
100%.
That's what happens when you go into the Grateful Dead. Your eyes get open wide.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Jerry Garcia. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. We're out here, guys.
Yes. Cheers.
Take care, all.
guys.
See you next
Take
week.
care.
Have a good one. Take it away, boss.